Well, this viewer was watching or had watched Quick Tip 487, one we made called When and Where to Use Black. And he says, well, he goes into other things, but I'm just going to pull a few points out. He says, where does black fit in relation to other colors on the wheel? And then he also mentions that he understands black as a modifier. Well, we're going to go into something that every painter should know. Well, there are two concepts that I want to explain to you so that you understand how black does not fit on the color wheel. There are two words. One is color, and the other is hue. Now, we need to keep those two. They're not the same. Color involves anything that you look at and can call color. Hue is the characteristic of that color that makes it appear the way it does. So hue is a part of color, but it's not the same as color. Now, the reason I say that is that we consider black a color, and other colors too. And then this person referred to black as being a modifying color, and he also referred to phthalo green or viridian being modified. All hues are modifiers, meaning that when you add any hue to another hue, you're going to modify. And I think I know where that term comes from, but that I want you to understand. Black is a combination of, you could say black is a combination of all hues, but let's not be cute about it. Black is a combination of a pair of complements, as dark as it can go. Now I'm going to do just a little bit of a demonstration for you and show you how that works, although it may seem a little simplistic to some of you, but you know, it doesn't hurt. Now remember, black belongs as a color. It does not belong as a hue. Black is not a hue. Now when we look at the color wheel, these are the hues. These are the colors within which are mixtures of those, or sometimes not mixture of those, makes every single color you see at every value we know them to be. So hues are what we locate around the color wheel, and we learn how to use hues together, how they affect each other. We create color. So I want to show you now about black. So I'm going to say we can take any two sets of hues on the wheel, or we can start with the set of primaries from which all hues are derived. And somebody's going to take argument on that one, but you can argue all day long. So I'm going to start then with a very, very dark out of the tube color. Ultramarine blue is a color. Ultramarine blue, the name ultramarine blue belongs right here. It does not belong here. And in this ultramarine blue is very, very dark as it comes out of the tube. I'm going to also put alizarin crimson, which is a red, it has a red hue. It's caused by the hue red. So I'm going to also put it on the palette. I'll just put these side by side here. And you see it too is very dark, though it's not as dark as this. Alizarin crimson is not a hue. Alizarin crimson is a color. It's made of the hue red. Of course, it's made of pigments or whatever those compositions are that have in them that hue that create the alizarin crimson. All right, there's one other color I want to put on the palette. I have a Hansa yellow light here. That's the name of the color. We have a cadmium yellow light that is very similar to the Hansa yellow light. Hansa yellow light is not a hue. it's a color. It belongs right here. The hue yellow is the color that we have to identify Hansa yellow light. Same thing is true with cadmium yellow light. Now, I chose ultramarine blue because it's closer to the true blue on the wheel. If I had chosen phthalo blue or cerulean blue or manganese blue, any of those blues, they lean towards green. And so they would not work in this experiment I'm going to do. So that's the reason I chose ultramarine blue. Now, what we'll do is we're going to create, I'm doing the rest of this exercise with a brush here so that you can sort of see how the thing falls together and how it relates in the terms of all these colors combined, giving us black. So I'll start with the blue. Now I'm going to show it to you on the canvas. So this is the ultramarine blue by itself, and I'll just put it right here, and you see how very dark that is. Now, if we thin that, I'm going to thin it just a little bit with a little bit of Gamsol. Not white, because white changes the characteristic of it. So I'm going to keep these as pure as I can. And so this gives you a better sense of the hue you're seeing, the hue blue you're seeing in ultramarine blue. And you can see that also because I thinned it, it raised the volume. All right, so this may seem, I said, oh, hey, but just stay with me on this. Now, I'm going to go to the alizarin crimson. And I'm going to put the alizarin crimson in its darkest form right here within the red area. And you can see I'll make it just as dark as I can make it, meaning that I don't have anything in there that thins it. And you can see now it's a very dark red. It tends to lean a little bit towards violet, but not enough to destroy our experiment. And then I'll show that to you in a slightly lighter form, just by adding a little bit of Gamsol to that alizarin, and we get something like this. See? If I add white to it, it just makes it opaque and turns pink, so I want to keep that. Now, so there we have two colors that have in them, that are made of two of our primaries. The two colors are blue, ultramarine blue, and alizarin crimson. The two hues that make up those colors are blue and red. Now, you see how I'm doing that. Now, when you understand color this way, and then you understand what happens when these things get added together, you will have all the knowledge of color you'll need. All you'll need to be able to do is to identify the color that comes out of your tube and what causes it to be that color and which hue it has in it. Okay, so I'm going now to the next, the next primary, which is yellow. And of course, the yellow is very light. This yellow is very light as it comes out of the tube. This is Hansa yellow light. Hansa yellow light, as I've already pointed out, is not a hue, it's a color. It has yellow in it. And even when we do it very thin, it doesn't change very much, you see, just like that. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set my brush really good, and we're going to create black from those three colors. Any set of complements, well, I need to clarify that. Any set of complements based on the primaries and secondaries on the color wheel are going to create black when they are the darkest versions of themselves. All right, so here's the way we'll go. In order to create black from yellow, we need a violet. So we need yellow and violet together, and they're going to get a black. We can get the violet with the blue and red. So what I'll do first of all, let's just play this step by step. So let's mix the blue and the red, and we need a violet, and we need not to be red violet or not to be blue violet. This is red violet. This is blue violet. They're hues. Hue red violet, hue blue violet. So we don't want red violet, we don't want blue violet, because if we have blue violet, it's going to be a greenish black. If this color turns more red violet, it's going to be more of a brownish black, warm and cooler. And so we want to then mix these so that we get a pure hue of ultramarine blue. Now, how do you do that? How do you know? Well, this is the way you do. What does color do to color? Now, what I'm doing, I'm mixing there, and I'm looking right here. It's still looking a little bit like violet to me there. I mean, like red violet. But here's what I'm going to do now. Now, let's just see what I've got here. I'm just going to put this mixture here. You see that right there. Oh, I've got it on the wrong side. Right here. We'll just X that out. Right there. Now you see, it seems maybe a little bit on the red side of violet, so I'm going to put a little bit more violet in it. A little bit more. Then, a little bit more blue in it. Now I'm going to begin to add the yellow into that. And now, when I add the yellow into it, if it turns brown and looks like it's beginning to turn more brown now, that tells me I didn't get it quite violet enough. It's still a little bit on the red-violet side. All right, let's see what I got here. I'm going to just put it right here because that's where we're going. And you see that is still on that brownish side. So I'm going to add a little bit more blue to it. A little bit more blue. And let's see how much more blue to that do we need to add to get it closer to what we could identify as black. Keep going. This is getting very neutral right here. That is very, very close. Now, here's the deal, though. When we're mixing this value of yellow to these two values, we can't get it totally black. We can only get a neutral that is as close to black as we can get it at that value. And the reason for that is because we need the three colors to be equally dark in order to get that black. Or relatively equal dark. And so you might say, well, what do we have? We don't have a dark yellow. We don't have a really dark yellow. Let's see what we've got right here. You see, there it is right there. You see, that then is very, very close to black. But you see, it's not quite black. Now, if I had gone with the color raw umber, it is a very, very dark, desaturated yellow. And the raw umber with the violet would make us a black. All right, but what about the color? You see, it is a color black, but it's not a hue black because it's got three hues in it. Or you could say it's got the maximum of three hues in it. So that's why black doesn't fit on the color wheel. It is a mixture that is the result of the colors on the color wheel. And you can also see, using that word modifier, every color I used in that modified it. So that means black belongs here, does not belong here. Now, there are three different kinds of tube blacks that we have that are well, they're more than that, but there are three major kinds of tube blacks. And you'll notice that some, they don't register. Some register a little bit cool, some a little bit warmer. And so people have their own preferences when they want to use black of these colors. There's the ivory black, which is most popular. Most people reach for ivory black. It's made from, originally it was made from charred bones. It's still made from charred bones that are got at the butcher's. So that's the ivory black. There's the Mars black. Now, Mars black is as a non-organic color. It's a synthetic color. It's synthetic burning of iron. And it creates what we call the Mars black. And then there's the lamp black. Lamp black was originally created from the residue of oil lamps. It's now created by burning gas or oil. So you've got those three kinds of black, and you're not doing really any harm to nature or to the animals anymore, not beyond what's already been done, if you choose ivory black. So you choose which one you want to use when black is appropriate. And of course, with the quick tip I told you about, we show you when and how black can be used. So keep it straight. Black is a combination of everything else. It is not a hue that belongs on the wheel. But there's so many colors we'll have that have names other than the hue name, that are combinations of color, combination of hues. Those are all colors, but they're not hues. The hue is what gives them their character. So play around with that a little bit. Do some experiments where you mix the complements together and come up with a black, and see how it compares with the black you have out of the tube. Every artist should know these things. Be sure to view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianeMize.com where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new.